You know how the youngest siblings are usually the favorite, spoiled ones in the family? Well, my story is the complete opposite. That is, until I made a fortune and they suddenly started worshiping me. But what I did next left them shook. Before I continue, click like and subscribe because My Story Animated will give $1,000 to one lucky person who subscribes in the next 7 days. Tell your friends, your sister, brother, and mom to subscribe now. I came into this world on a beautiful summer evening, an adorable little cutie weighing 10 pounds. Everyone gathered around to catch the first glimpse of me, and no one looked really happy. You see, I was born 18 years after my older twin sisters, Sally and Mandy. Just when my parents thought it wasn't even possible to have any more kids, I came along. Within the first week of bringing me home, my parents were at their wits' ends.
I'm trying to sleep. Can't you get her to be quiet? Can't you see that I'm trying? I'm too old for this. Should we give her up for adoption?
Dad instantly sat up straight in bed.
That's not a bad idea.
Just then, Sally came rushing into the room.
Mom, Dad, don't give her away. I'll take care of her, I promise.
And just like that, Sally practically became my mom and raised me. Mandy never helped out. She seemed to care as little about me as my parents did. Once, when I was a year older, Sally wasn't home and Mom had to take me to the grocery store with her. A stranger saw me in the cart and started gushing over me.
Oh, your granddaughter is adorable.
Mom was furious about being called a grandmother. She refused to go out with me in public after that. By the time I was 2, I hadn't started saying any words. Sally felt worried and told my parents to take me to a speech therapist, but they just scoffed.
It's a good thing she's quiet. She'll be talking our heads off soon.
But 2 more years passed and I still hadn't spoken anything. My doctor said my speech problems may be due to some complications during Mom's pregnancy. Great. Isn't it embarrassing enough that she just dropped out of nowhere and now she's too dumb to speak? I wasn't too dumb to understand Mandy's mean words. Later that night, I snuck into her room and threw all her precious makeup in the toilet. Her screams the next morning made my day. Sally had started teaching me how to read early on, but she had no idea if I was actually learning. I wish I could tell her that at 5, I could read fluently. When I was done with all my storybooks, I started picking books off her shelves. They were mostly computer-related, but I found them fascinating. One night when I was 6, I decided to sneak some cookies from the kitchen when I heard voices from Mandy's bedroom. I peeked through the door crack and to my shock, I saw a tall boy inside. Ah! There's a thief in Mandy's room! And seconds later, everyone had come running and were staring at me.
Oh my God, Kylie, was that you? I can't believe you can talk.
Then Sally turned to Mandy angrily.
Gosh, you know you can't bring your stupid boys here. We have a kid in the house.
I'm not letting this little brat rule my life like she rules yours. I'm moving out. And with that, Mandy packed her things and left with her boyfriend. Sally got me admitted to school soon after, and I loved it. And once I started talking, there was no stopping me. My parents both started wearing earplugs, but Sally loved listening to me. My teacher said I use really big words, but I'm a big girl with a big brain and big ideas. I have to use big words to express them, right? When I was in the 6th grade, the school called the kids' moms to talk about their careers on Mother's Day. And of course, Sally came. I felt so proud as she told everyone all about being a computer engineer. But when we were walking home, she turned to me with tears in her eyes.
I have some news, kiddo. I got a really good job in another city, and I have to move.
It was one of the saddest days of my life when I watched Sally leave. Dad was mostly away for work, and Mom was really bad company. She wouldn't even let me play outside with the other kids after school because she'd have to keep an eye on me. But I'm bored.
Here, I have a fun idea. Why don't you learn how to knit?
And she took out an old knitting basket from her closet. I'm 12, not 70. Also, are you going to teach me?
God, no. There are plenty of tutorials online.
And with that, she opened something called YouTube on her tablet and went off to take a nap. Surprisingly, it turned out that knitting was quite fun. I learned the basic knots first, and then moved to the more advanced lessons. By the end of the month, I'd knit scarves for both my parents, who said they would never wear something so ugly. I still enjoyed it and kept learning. And even better, I discovered all sorts of videos related to computers and software and app making. and I was hooked. But one day, the worst possible thing in the world happened. I was trying to open YouTube, but the page just kept giving an error. And then I heard on the news that YouTube was banned across the country. I was horrified. It was all anyone could talk about in school, too. I'm moving to another country.
I'm arranging a town-wide protest tomorrow against the government. We want YouTube back.
Just then, I had a light bulb moment and got the greatest idea ever. But I needed the help of a boy, so I put up a job poster on the bulletin board the next day. I got one text from a boy saying he was interested and could meet me at midnight. He said he was too ugly to send a picture, so I told him that he'd have to pay me $100 to identify himself, and he agreed. That night, I snuck up to the attic quietly. Soon after, I heard a sharp knock on the window and saw a boy standing outside. I was really shocked. Ugly? What had he been talking about? He was a total hottie, and he smelled nice too. The boy handed me a $100 bill.
You told me to meet you here and give you $100? I'm Mark, the computer geek.
Oh, yes. And it's $200, actually. He gave me another bill, and I quickly put the money in my pocket.
So what's this job about?
I have an awesome idea for an app. What if there was an app we could download on our phones to access blocked websites? He looked really impressed, and we agreed that he could come here every night secretly and work till dawn before anyone woke up.
Great. And what will you pay me?
I quickly took the $200 out of my pocket and gave it to him. Well, let's start off with that, shall we? And you can take 10% of anything I make once the app is successful. Mark smiled at me, and my knees felt a bit wonky.
Deal.
And with that, he was gone. For the next few weeks, Mark and I worked every night on the app in the attic. He was really smart and funny, and my secret crush on him was just growing stronger. It was getting kinda hard to keep all these secrets, though. I was dozing off here and there all day, and Mom was getting suspicious.
Why are you so sleepy all the time? What are you up to all night?
Knitting, Mom. What can I say? I'm obsessed. One night, I had a present waiting for Mark when he came. It's not much, but I made you this scarf. It's green, like your eyes. I mean, not that I've really noticed the exact shade or anything. He grinned and immediately put it around his neck.
I love it.
Just then, we suddenly heard footsteps coming closer. In complete panic, I dragged Mark with me to the nearest closet. From a tiny crack, I saw that it was Dad, but it looked like he was sleepwalking. He just stared around blankly, then walked away. As we stepped out in relief, I realized I was still holding Mark's hand, and just then, he pulled me closer and kissed me. It was every bit as amazing as I'd imagined it. The app was ready in a few days, and we waited anxiously to see the response once we launched it. When the first few people started downloading it, we jumped up and down in delight, but then it just went bonkers. We had hundreds and hundreds of people suddenly downloading the app. The number had gone up to thousands by morning. The school was buzzing with excitement that day as everyone was on their phones, and I overheard the girls say, "Download FireGuard app already, loser. It's so cool." Thank God I can finally post my makeup tutorials again. So amazing! I've really missed watching all my favorite channels. Whoever made this app is really smart. This was an instant hit, and I was about to get very rich. Of course, I kept this a secret from everybody, especially my parents. As it grew more popular, the app constantly needed upgrades, so Mark would still come to the attic, and we secretly kept working and celebrating our success. By the end of high school, I'd made enough money to easily go to any college and live independently. I'd been accepted into MIT, and I could hardly wait to go in the fall. But then, something really unexpected happened. One day after dinner, the doorbell rang, and when I opened the door, Mandy was standing there holding a baby girl. "Oh, Aunt Kylie, say hello to your niece." And with that, she dumped the baby in my arms and ran to hug Mom and Dad. "Hello, Grandma and Grandpa. We're moving in with you guys. Isn't that great?" Yeah, I dumped my stupid husband, finally. My parents looked like they were about to faint. They absolutely refused to take care of the baby, and Mandy was just as selfish as ever. So she just expected me to take care of her. But to be honest, I didn't mind because my niece was adorable, and it's not like I was going to be around much longer. Auntie Kylie will be off to college soon, but it's our little secret, okay? I'm really gonna miss you. The night that I was leaving, I left my parents a note in my room and was planning to sneak out of the attic. Mark was already there to help me with my bags.
Ready for this adventure?
So ready. As Mark pulled in for a kiss, suddenly the door flung open and we flew apart to find my niece standing in the doorway. Annie, Kylie is here. And to my horror, Mandy walked in right behind her with an evil smirk. Gosh, don't you know you can't bring stupid boys here? We have a kid in the house. Wait till I tell Mom and Dad.
Tell us what?
And they were both behind us. God, was the entire house awake today?
Where do you think you're going, Kylie? And who's this boy?
Mom? Dad? I'm leaving because I've been accepted at MIT. They all stared at me for a minute and then burst out laughing.
Yeah, right. As if you're smart enough to get in there.
It took you 5 years to start talking, remember?
And who do you think is going to pay for college anyway? You think we've been saving for that?
I felt really mad, and I couldn't keep it in any longer. I whipped out my college acceptance letter and waved it in their faces. I did get in, and I don't need your money. I came up with the idea of the FireGuard app, and Mark helped me develop it. And it changed a lot of people's lives, and I'm rich enough to never need a cent from you ever again. Suddenly, both my parents were hugging me and smothering me with kisses, saying they always knew I was special. I pushed them away. Save it, guys. You've always acted like I'm a burden and never really loved me. Well, I'm finally out of your hair now. I gave my niece a kiss, and with that, I walked away for good. I'm studying at MIT now with Mark, and it's the happiest I've ever been. If you all want to support me through my studies at university, please download the FireGuard app that you can see in the description box below. Once when I was 5, I was at the grocery store when suddenly I heard loud voices behind me. A mean-looking woman was screaming at my sister Nancy for taking the last toilet roll. Oh no, I knew what was coming next. Don't you shout at her, you witch! She's gonna faint! I caught Nancy just before she hit the ground. The woman looked shocked and someone started calling an ambulance. Don't worry, I can take care of this. And with that, I started rocking Nancy and singing in a calm voice. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, you're a dummy, yes you are. Everyone was looking at me like I was crazy, but Nancy opened her eyes soon. I helped her get up, and as we were leaving, I stomped on the woman's foot. Hi, my name is Mira, and I was born 15 years after my sister Nancy. And ever since I can remember, Nancy's had this crazy problem called cataplexy. Every time she's really angry or stressed, she faints. One time, a bully in the park pushed me off the swing, and as Nancy stepped forward to yell at her, she just fainted on top of her. I couldn't stop laughing as the girl screamed till her parents came to her rescue. Mom worked as a maid, and we were poor, but we were happy together. I was especially close to Nancy because she always had my back, and I had hers. Soon after I'd passed 8th grade, Nancy came home with some great news one day. She'd been hired as a teacher in a private school, and I could attend it for free. I was awestruck on my first day there. Everything and everyone was so fancy. When the bell rang for recess, a girl named Lexi shrieked, OMG, let's go outside. My parents must be here with my birthday present. And she and her minions rudely pushed me aside on their way out. I followed them out of curiosity, and my jaw dropped when I saw a pink sports car drive up and her parents jumped out. But suddenly, Lexi went ballistic. Are you kidding me, Daddy? A Mercedes? My name is freaking Lexi, and I wanted a freaking Lexus with a number plate saying Lexi. Are you guys morons? You're ruining my life. And then she started pulling her dad's hair, and he started crying and apologizing. Gosh, what planet were these people from? Well, now I was on the planet of jerks too, and Lexi was the president. One day in class, the teacher was testing out our mental math skills and asked, what's the probability of rolling an even number on a dice? Lexi's hand instantly shot up. I don't know, but it's definitely higher than the probability of you ever finding a boyfriend. Loser! As the teacher's face turned red, I felt terrible. Hey, that's really rude. Didn't anyone teach you any manners? The class fell silent, and Lexi stared at me like I'd killed her cat. You think I can't tell how poor you are? Someone like you shouldn't be messing with someone like me. That was stupid times infinity. After that, She made it her life's mission to make me miserable. I'd find stinky tuna in my locker, orange juice all over my notebooks, my bag in the toilet. And even though I was doing great at school and the teachers loved me, no one dared say anything to Lexi because her parents were big donors. But then she went too far. One day, I was having lunch when Lexi came over, and she climbed onto the table and kicked my plate away. "Kiss my shoes, loser, and I'll make you part of my gang. We could use a nerd to do our homework." I'd had enough. I got up to kick her butt when suddenly Nancy walked in and pulled her down. "What do you think you're doing? Stay away from my sister." "Sister? Wow, I do see the resemblance actually. You both look like some homeless people let you borrow their clothes." Nancy looked furious, and next thing I knew, she'd fainted smack onto Lexi with her food tray. Lexi went mental and stormed off straight to the principal. "That teacher attacked me, and she ruined my limited edition Gucci dress. I'll report her to the police. She has a health issue, you psycho. She didn't do it on purpose. I want her fired." Even though the principal was sympathetic, she said she had to let Nancy go. But since I was a good student, she'd let me stay on scholarship. I was so furious. I decided I was gonna leave anyway, but Nancy wouldn't hear it. "You have a chance to get a great college scholarship if you study here, Mira. I'm sorry I made things worse for you, but you have to go." With Nancy losing her job, I knew money would be tight again, and I didn't want her and Mom worrying. So I found a tutor's job and started teaching math to a couple of super spoiled brats. One evening when I was leaving their house, their snooty mom handed me a bag of trash and a large painting. Someone gave me this butt-ugly painting as a gift. "Be a dear and throw this on your way out." God, why were rich people so awful? She didn't even say please. I shoved the stuff in the garbage dump, but then I turned around and picked up the painting. Nancy would probably like it, but I wasn't expecting her reaction when she saw it. This artist is really famous, and it looks like an original. She asked you to throw it away? We took it to an art gallery the next day, and the owner confirmed that it was an original. He told us to sell it at an upcoming auction, and we did. As the number went higher and higher, Nancy fainted. It was finally sold to the highest bidder for freaking $2 million. What? We went into complete shock for a minute, and then we started hugging and dancing for joy. We were rich from some rich idiot's trash. And just like that, our lives changed. We moved into a better apartment immediately and decided to spoil ourselves a little. The three of us went on a shopping spree, got spa treatments and makeovers, had a few fancy dinners. We had a blast. And when I walked into school after the weekend, I could instantly feel all eyes on me. As I put my stuff away in the locker, I closed the door to find Lexi standing behind it like a creep. And then I saw we were wearing the exact same outfit. "You have to take your clothes off." "What? How can you even afford this? And no one is allowed to wear the same clothes to school as me. Now, just take these gym clothes and go change." "Lexi, you can bully your friends and parents and teachers to get your way, but it's never going to happen with me. Like, ever." To make things even better, someone posted a picture of us and started an Instagram poll of who wore it better, and the majority voted for me. When Lexi saw that, she snatched all of her friends' phones and smashed them into the wall one by one. And just like that, a war had started between us. I already had better grades, and now I had just as many friends and boys around me. One time at a big football match, Lexi was busy flirting with all the jocks, but the minute I sat down on the bleachers, the whole team came running towards me. "I'll be playing for you today, Mira. Don't miss my moves out there, babe." That was weird, but it seemed to be making Lexi livid. So I blew them all kisses and said I'd be cheering them on. And when they won, they literally carried me off on their shoulders to the celebration party. But the final straw was when the student council elections came around. Usually, no one even bothered to stand against Lexi as president, but I decided to run, and I won by a freaking landslide. This is not possible. I want to recount. I smell foul play. Lexi, it's about time you understood that people might fear you, but they'd rather vote for someone they actually like, and that's not you. I won fair and square, so deal with it. Well, she did deal with it. In a way, I didn't see coming. I'd been working for months with my teacher on a math research paper for a university competition. Winning it could get me a full scholarship after high school. So when my teacher called me one evening to say that I'd won first prize, I fell off my chair at the dining table. Mom and Nancy were so proud of me. But when I went to the principal's office to meet the university dean, I was shocked to find Lexi there with her parents. What are you doing here, Lexi? What are you doing here, Mira? I'm here to talk more about the prize and scholarship I just won. I looked around at everyone in shock, and then I just snapped. Oh my God, you mean the scholarship you just bought with Mommy and Daddy's money? Because you sure as heck aren't smart enough to win anything. Lexi snarled and attacked me, pushed me straight onto the principal's desk. I grabbed a bottle of ink and flung it into her eyes. As the principal screamed and Lexi's parents tried to stop her, she just kicked them. When the grown-ups finally managed to pull us apart, the principal was furious. That's it. I don't care how much you donate, sir. One more incident like this and Lexi will be expelled. And with that, she pushed us all out. As I was about to storm off angrily, I turned to Lexi's parents. You guys have raised a monster. Can't you see she has no respect for anything or anyone? Not even you? You can buy her everything she wants, and she's never going to love you or thank you for it. For the next few days, I pretended like Lexi didn't even exist. And then she didn't come to school for a week. No one was happier than me. But one night, Nancy and I were driving through her neighborhood when we crossed her house, and it seemed pitch dark. Had she left town? I asked Nancy to stop for a minute, and I walked up to the house to look through a window. I found Lexi sitting with her parents on the floor, eating with candles on. There was no furniture. What was going on? I can't even see what garbage I'm eating. How can we not have any electricity?
This is what it means to be broke, Lexi. We can't pay for things.
Ugh, I hate you, Dad. I can't live like this. I wish I'd never been born to a loser like you.
It's not my fault the market crashed. You want me to put you up for adoption? That girl Mira was right. You're awful.
I sneaked away from her house, feeling super weird. Lexi was poor now? The next day at school, I saw Lexi was back, but she was cornered by the other girls from class. Is it true, Lexi? The paper said your dad is totally broke. Are you too poor to afford shampoo now? Your hair looks like it hasn't been washed in a week. Gross. I was about to walk away, but something about Lexi's tear-stained face made me stop, and I pushed through them. Can everyone please, for once, stop being a big jerk around here? You don't have to punch somebody when they're already down. With that, I took Lexi's hand and led her away from the rest. She wiped away her tears and stared at me in shock. Why did you do that? Why would you help me? You certainly don't deserve it, but it was the right thing to do. I don't think someone as heartless as you would really understand that. That was the last I ever spoke to Lexi. Her locker was cleared up soon after, and she and her parents left town for good. But I got a call the very next day from the university dean, offering me the scholarship again. No thank you, sir. I've lost all respect for you and your university, because anyone could buy you if they had enough money. And 2 years later, I'm graduating high school with honors and going off to my dream university.